House, and back home they call me Htown Wheelhouse, Big Al, or the other guy who they say hits dingers. Yordan Alvarez, what does he do? He hits dingers. Aledmys Diaz, what does he do? He hits dingers. That's right. Tonight's special edition bonus episode, a recap of the explosion with the bats and Yordan Alvarez getting that bag and getting paid by the Houston Astros. Let's go.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Astros, your daily Astros podcast. Here are your hosts, Eric the Man Heisman and Brett Htown Wheelhouse Chansey.
We are Locked On Houston Astros, and we are your daily Astros podcast. I'm Htown Wheelhouse here with this special solo bonus episode. Eric is not here right now, and everybody's concerned about him, but he is currently tied up right now. Here's the deal. Let's talk about Astros baseball. I wasn't going to wait around to see if we could have anybody else show up, but you know what? It's worth going solo over. Jose Urquidy hitting his spots in the zone. We'll talk about that. Yordan Alvarez getting that bag today and then hitting a dinger as well. Aledmys Diaz and Martin Maldonado, the home run king. He's famine or feast at the plate, and we love to see it. So today's episode is brought to you by Built Bar. We want to let you know that Built Bar is the best tasting protein bar in the land. And if you go to built.com and use a promo code LOCKED15, you'll get 15% off. And make sure that you make Locked On Astros your first listen every single day. That's right. Whether you're on Apple, Google, or Spotify, whether you're going to work or coming home from work, let us know. Listen to our show and let us know that you make us your first listen. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Htown Wheelhouse, and follow the show at Locked On Astros on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Follow me as well on Stros411 on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Always positive, always Stros. And Eric Talks Stros. Follow Eric on Twitter, Eric Talks Stros. Follow him, give him a like, give him a thumbs up. He's doing a great job. We love doing this show. We've done a show today already about Yordan Alvarez getting the bag, about him getting that money. We come to today, and I know Eric predicted a win today. I think he predicted a sweep for the Royals series, and it was apropos. We've been asking this. Here's the deal. When is this offense going to show up? When are the Houston Astros really going to start hitting for power? When are their bats going to just start doing the things we know they can do? Yuli, when is he going to get off the schneid? Tonight he did something, and he actually leads the team in a category of hits, and we'll talk about that here in a second. But I want to focus on Jose Urquidy, okay? Jose Urquidy tonight, he has been a little up and down. He has had trouble with his location. His location has either been out of the zone or in the zone and been very hittable. Tonight, after he gave up his first hit to the first batter, he retired the next 6 batters in a row. He ended the game with 6 strikeouts. He ended the game with 13 whiffs, okay? 60% of his pitches were four-seam fastballs, and his changeup was working. He threw it 14% of the time, his curve and his cutter, both 12% of the time. So let me tell you why that's important. Jose Urquidy has been getting more walks than he'd like, and tonight he didn't do that. He only allowed 1 walk. He had 6 strikeouts. He was getting his changeup over. He was moving the ball to the bottom of the zone, to the top of the zone. The Royals didn't have any good swings except for the first hit, and then the Bobby Witt Jr. 3-run home run when they went the third time through the order, and I think Urquidy was done after that. So Urquidy comes out and locates his four-seamer, locates his cutter and his change, and he's starting to figure out, it seems like, what it is he needs to do to produce those swings and misses. Again, 13 swings and misses tonight, which was the most by any pitcher. Brady Singer came in. This kid has had our numbers somewhat. He's got a 2-point-something ERA against us, and we lit him up. Definitely lit him up. Blake Taylor, I'm glad you asked. Blake Taylor actually left the game due to elbow discomfort. Left elbow It just said elbow discomfort. I'm assuming his throwing arm, so he left the game. Other than that, I haven't heard a report unless McTaggart or Rome tweeted out something prior to me jumping on the mic to talk about the show. But Jose Urquidy, you would think the title of this, with the bats explode, that we would be all about offense. But we got to give Jose Urquidy his due, his credit. If Urquidy can figure things out, I mean, it's going to be really tough. Who is the guy that goes to the pen whenever Odorizzi comes back? Is it Javier? Is it Odorizzi? Is it Urquidy? Um, Hunter Brown. Hunter Brown, people have talked about, well, maybe he can go to the pen. He's not going to go to the bullpen. The only way Hunter Brown comes up, and I'll touch on that here just for a second. The only way Hunter Brown comes in is if he's got a starting role. He is going to come in as a starter. He's not going to come in as a reliever. He's not going to come in as a long reliever. He's not going to come in as a closer. His job is a starter. And so that is where you will see him come in. So let's talk about this. 2 days in a row, Alex Bregman didn't play. Well, yesterday he didn't play because nobody played on the Astros, but he had a 2-day rest. And it seemed to be the right move because Aledmys Diaz came in, and oh my gosh, not only did he hit the ball, and not only was he responsible for the first 3 runs of the game with the 2-run home run and then an RBI, but he went 3 for 5 today. He had 3 RBI on the day. And he made a masterful play when shifted over by short, which shortstop is actually his worst position, and made an amazing stab, made an amazing throw to get the final out. That is what Aledmys Diaz does. That is where his value lies. So any talk of anybody ever saying anything about Diaz, why is he on the team? Should we trade him? You just don't know Diaz. You don't know his potential. And you're right. Seth Martinez has been on fire. We'll talk about that kid here in a second. I'll talk about the other pitchers, but he's going to make it real hard. And later on in the show, we'll talk about, I'm not going to do a long show today, but later on the show, we'll talk about and we'll find out what Myers and Taylor Jones did, something kind of big that goes along with the theme of the Astros tonight. So let's look at this offense. Diaz 3 for 5 tonight, 3 RBI. Yordan Alvarez, the $100 million man himself, he goes 3 for 5 with a home run and 3 RBI. I mean, come on. Are you serious? I said he's going to go off tonight. I didn't know he was going to hit a home run and get 3 hits. So he collected 3 hits, all right? Maldonado, 2 for 4 tonight with a home run and 2 RBI. Excellent job tonight. And then Gurriel 2 for 4. Yuli Gurriel hit his 15th double of the season. That double is a team-leading double. The last time he hit a double, May 1st. He hadn't hit a double since May 1st, and he's still leading the team in doubles. That's where, when we talked about the other night, the 64 home runs being 4th, being 20th in runs, that's those extra base hits. It's been famine or feast with the home runs. Now, I don't mind if we hit 3 or 4 home runs a game. I don't know if that's sustainable, but it's odd. Someone pointed out to me on Twitter, you look across the board today, the runs are up. I wonder if they listen to Locked On Astros. I wonder if they really know what it means to go out and find the right person for the job. Well, I'm glad you asked, because with spring in the air, it's a time of renewal and growth, personally and professionally. As your small business grows, LinkedIn Jobs is here to make it easier to find the people you want to talk faster and for free. Create a job post in minutes in LinkedIn Jobs to reach your network and beyond to the world's largest network of over 810 million people. That's a lot of people. Then add your job and the purple hashtag hiring frame in your LinkedIn profile to spread the word that you're hiring, so your network can help you find the right people to hire. Simple tools like screening questions make it easy to focus on candidates with just the right skills and experience, so you can quickly prioritize who you'd like to interview and hire. That's why small businesses rank LinkedIn Jobs number 1 in delivering quality hires versus leading competitors. So this is what you need to do. You need to realize LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the candidates you want to talk to faster. Did you know that every week nearly 40 million job seekers visit LinkedIn? That's right. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnMLB. That's linkedin.com/lockedonmlb to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. All right, so talking about the Space Cowboys game tonight, it looks like they fell in extra innings, 8-7. Pedro Leon was back in the game. He was out. Jake Myers was 0 for 4 tonight. There are no strikeouts, so it looks like he made some contact. But Taylor Jones came in the game. He was 1 for 3. He hit a home run. He hit a solo shot, I believe his first at bat in the game. And so it was good to have Jake Myers and Taylor Jones back in uniform, heading back to the road to recovery, getting back on that right track. The question is, and I want to talk about this for a second, Jose Siri, Chas McCormick, Jake Myers. Of those three, one of them is going to be the odd man out. I don't see them carrying three center fielders. And a lot of people are like, well, Siri and McCormick, they're the same. Siri is better than McCormick defensively. McCormick is a better bat. I trust him more. Well, but Siri's got more speed. And I don't know if one or the other, if you have one over the other, if you're really losing much. I think they're about as dead even as possible. You look at their WRC plus, it's only 3 or 4 points separating each. You don't have one, obviously, for Myers because he hasn't been playing. But at the end of the day, these three are very good options because coming next season in 2023, it's going to be Myers versus Leon. It's going to be those two. Those will be the headliners. And it will be whether they decide to keep McCormick or Siri. I just don't see them keeping 4 center fielders. You even have center field prospects in the pipeline. So, I mean, the harvest is plentiful. Siri tonight made some amazing catches. He flashed the leather tonight. After he had a horrible at-bat and struck out, the next inning he goes out and on a line shot to center field, I didn't think he was going to track the ball down. He nearly ran into the wall, made the catch. Later on, he made a little fancy sliding grab. And just the way the guy comes out of a slide and holds the ball and holds his offhand, it's just like, this dude has so much swag. I remember seeing that last year when I was interviewing guys like Jake Myers and Pete Solomon at Constellation Field. Siri just carried himself differently. And I think that's what a lot of people like about Jose Siri. Back-to-back jacks was amazing. And I'm not talking like Jack in the Box. I'm sorry, that's a bad joke. Yeah, Kevin brings it up. Diaz and Yordan, the Cuban connection, I called it. I mean, that shot by Yordan was amazing. Let's look at these exit velos of these home runs. Actually, the person that had the highest exit velocity on a hit was Jose Siri, and he didn't even have a home run. But Bobby Witt Jr., his home run was 109.8 off the bat. Yordan Alvarez was 106.6 off the bat. I don't have Diaz's right here, but Yordan Alvarez's home run was 427. Bobby Witt's was a little bit of a monster shot at 443. Diaz at 413, and Martin Maldonado at 416. So hitting the ball with distance, hitting the ball with runners on base is huge. That will up our RBI and run production numbers. That will even those out and hopefully move us up from 20th or 21st place into the top 10. Remember, this is a top 10 offense. We cannot forget that. This is a top 10 offense. On the day that Yordan Alvarez got paid, I said he's going to go off. He did. Now, I guess it could have gone the other way. I'm no Nostradamus. But 3 for 5 in a home run with 3 RBI, it's a pretty darn good game. The defense showed up. Urquidy pitched well. I'm not saying the offense is bad. I'm just saying production is down. Production is down across the league. I've never said the offense is bad, but we're not scoring as many runs per game as we did last year. But so is the rest of the league not doing the same thing. All I'm saying is when you are 4th in home runs, but 20th in runs or 15th in RBI, there's a lot of solo home runs. There's a lot of guys on base that aren't making it home. And even though we have Bregman, who's number 6 in the league, who's number 6 in the league, and with runners in scoring position, you still have. I'm just explaining because I want people to know, maybe that are watching, that when you look at this offense, it's not a dire situation. We get spoiled. We get used to the 6, 7 runs per game, the 5 runs per game. We're not used to this. The ball's never been this dead, though. Now, shoot, the Marlins scored 25 runs in 2 games the other day. So there's no way Major League Baseball is using the same ball. There's no way it's equal across the board. But at the end of the day, as long as they hit with runners in scoring position, I don't care about the home runs. The home runs will come. The home runs will be there. you've got you've got some of the best young power hitters in the game, and you've got guys that have been a constant. And even though Jose Altuve went 0 for 3, he still had an RBI with the walk. He walked. They're seeing pitches well. They saw the pitches well. I mean, they walked in 2 runs, maybe 3. I think it was 2. And so that's key. Other teams aren't doing that. I mean, if you look at right now, you look at where we were 2 or 3 weeks ago, and you look at where we are right now, standing wise, in the standings, we have opened up we're almost at a double digit lead in the division over the Angels. The Angels have just absolutely been vaporized. It's like Thanos snapped and the Angels disappeared. The Mariners have disappeared. The Rangers were at 500 like 3 days ago. Now they're 3 games under 500. We are 7.5 games in first place. The Angels are 1 over 500. We are 34-18. We have won 5 in a row. The Angels have lost 9 in a row. We have a plus 51 run differential. That's second in the AL. The Yankees have a plus 98. Okay. The Mets have plus 75. Milwaukee plus 32. And the Dodgers are playing out of their mind, are plus 114. But look at this. Dodgers are 34-17. The Astros are 34-18. They prove to us that we don't have to score a ton of runs to win the games. Why? Because we have one of the best relief pitching staffs. We've gotten some of the most production out of our pitchers. And I think a key part of that is Justin Verlander and Framber Valdez. In the absence of a healthy Lance McCullers, who is an absolute top rotation guy, these guys are holding it down. And if Jose Urquidy can figure it out, like he did tonight on a consistent basis, like, who are you going to throw at us that we're not going to be able to throw at y'all, that we're not going to be able to counter? The best punch a lot of times in the fight is not the initial punch, it's the counter punch. So if someone throws at you a solid pitcher and you throw a solid pitcher back, you know what? 9 times out of 10, that Astros lineup is better than the guys on the other side. And they're going to get it done. So we've got to think about that. But how big is it for Aledmys Diaz to come in, play third base, give Bregman a rest, and go 3 for 5 and be responsible for the first 3 runs? It was an absolute, I mean, he abused that high center cut, middle, like pipe fastball right over the fence, and it was a laser. So, yeah, here we go. Joseph says this. He says, every team out there has at least 3 guys batting that are just average. The Astros may only have 1, if that, every day. So, yeah, I mean, our lineup top to bottom, I guess 1 through 7 at least, I would put up against anybody's. T. Bradley says, does anyone think McCullers will be for real? I don't understand the question. In other words, do you think he'll come back and be able to sustain a healthy presence on the mound to where he stays in the game and he doesn't get injured again? If he rehabs properly, I believe he should be able to. I don't see why he couldn't. When he's healthy, he's one of the most dominant pitchers in the game. Someone says right here, if it comes down to Dubon, McCormick, and Siri, give me Siri. Interesting thought. Now, Dubon, and I would have to look into this more down the road, but Dubon, I don't think they would have signed him or brought him over if they thought that he was going to be one of the odd men out. I just don't see that. But I may not understand the situation as to why they brought him, but he seems like a guy that's going to be here for a while. Now, this is what's interesting. I went to 2 Space Cowboys games this week, and let me tell you, if you haven't been to Sugarland, if you live in the Houston area, you are missing out. The games are not expensive. Like if you go Saturday, I believe they're giving away a Siri bobblehead. They gave away a ring, I think, tonight. They're giving away a towel or something on Sunday. They've got some cool giveaways. But the baseball being played, I mean, there's this kid, Corey Julks, who's local, 14 home runs, just absolutely murdering the baseball. You know what? I don't really drink that much beer at the game. It's not as expensive at Minute as it is at Minute Maid Park. I mean, it's definitely cheaper. I mean, it's a AAA ballpark. But regardless, you get your bang for your buck. If you go early, like you go 1 hour early, bring your kids. Tell them to stand by the right field wall at the end of the baseline, and just about every player that comes by will sign autographs. They're personable. They'll talk to you. They'll let you take a picture with them. It's really a great experience. They put together. I mean, they've got a clean stadium. And I mean, Jake Myers is there this weekend. It's typically a 20-day assignment. Him and Taylor Jones are going to be there. I saw Josh James pitch the other night. Corey Julks is going off. Pedro Leon's back in the lineup after sitting for a day. So it is one of those things. JJ expect JJ, yeah. JJ Matijevic is an interesting player, and I won't talk about some of my thoughts on him. But yeah, he does a good job. But the reason why I mention that is because Nico Goodrum has been playing leadoff, and he's hitting like 318 right now. He may be your classic quadruple A player. But with that said, I know Eric did this, but I just want to look at the game that is coming up next. And as I'm going over this and talking about this, if y'all want to drop a question in the sidebar, I will bring it up. I'll read it so those listening can hear it, since they obviously can't see the questions that are being asked. They can at least hear the questions that are being asked. But tomorrow's game, we are going to see, my computer's really slow right now, Luis Garcia, and they have not announced the pitcher. So Luis Garcia is going tomorrow. Obviously, he is 3-3 with a 3.14 ERA. So I think the Astros go out there, and I think they do a great job. All right, let's see. We got a long question, but I'll put it up here. Or maybe it's a comment. Astros are leading the division and have one of the best records in the league, and not even playing their best baseball yet. I would agree with that. Once the offense comes around, I feel sorry for the rest of the league. Yes, I agree with that 100%. Dusty Baker needs to be not afraid to pull a starter under any circumstance. Look what KC starter went through. That was devastating. Save your players and use your bullpen. It's practice for October. Yeah, I really think the knock on Dusty, and I'll talk about this for a second, when he came here or in his past was players' arms apparently got ruined, or he overused pitchers. Mark Pryor, Kerry Wood, guys like that, Strasburg, all that stuff. But he almost has taken the opposite approach, where people feel like he's constantly pulling pitchers too soon. Or he'll overuse a reliever in certain spots. And, look, I've never managed a professional team. I've never had analytics and had 40-something years experience and had other people telling me what they think, and it may be different from my philosophy. I can't imagine what kind of a chess match that is. Hitting a baseball is not just hard, but I promise you manage a team is probably just as difficult. Here's a question. AJ says, what do we do when LMJ and Odo come back? I kind of addressed that a second ago, but I'll readdress it. That's 7 starting pitchers. Who's the odd man out? Honestly, Christian Javier handles the bullpen masterfully. Christian Javier, Larry the GM, and I had many back and forths about this. I wouldn't say arguments, maybe stern disagreements, but Christian Javier proved himself to do really well in the bullpen. If Odorizzi comes back from his injury and is pitching the way he was, Javier would be that guy that slots in there, I think, perfectly. LMJ, you've got to stretch him out in the minors, get him ready. You got to make him a starter. So that is what I think about that. Greinke's on the IL. When they come back, I think July 4th, that series, he should be back, and more than likely he will pitch. It's funny. KC hasn't really done anything since 2015. Some people assumed that maybe they got to 2015 because they did some illegal things themselves. I'm just saying they were one hit wonders. Funny, the Astros, the ire of the league, the eyesore of MLB, has sustained their success even without some scandal or some scheme. Maybe it's because they're that good. And maybe that's why we as fans get so frustrated. People keep talking about it, because we know our team didn't need anything to help them win. I digress. So here we go. Wheelbite, I'll get to you in a second. AJ says again, most likely to get called up this year, Corey Lee, Hunter Brown, or Pedro Leon. Pedro Leon, take him off the board. I don't see Pedro Leon, and I'll tell you why. Because Jake Myers has been injured. If Jake Myers had been playing and Jake Myers just had totally just not done well baseball wise, and they needed to fill a void in center field, and Larry, I'll get to that in a second. I don't think that. I think Pedro Leon has an open door for that, right? But you ask me, Pedro Leon, Corey Lee, or Hunter Brown, who gets called up first? I really think that Corey Lee gets called up first. I like the idea. Larry and Mark and myself and some others I've discussed too individually, he seems like a good candidate to come up in July and partner with Maldonado and really try to find his stride as a backup every fourth or fifth day. Put him with an Urquidy or someone like that. I don't know. Um, I hesitate bringing up Hunter Brown too early. I hesitate bringing up Hunter Brown when you have, like you said, when they're ready, when they're all back. Now, if Lance McCullers it doesn't start this year, like Larry is opining, he said, I do not think that Lance McCullers gets a start this year. If he doesn't, maybe that is the open door for Hunter Brown to come in late to become a starter late in the season. But Hunter Brown will not be a relief pitcher. Hunter Brown will not be a closer. Hunter Brown will not be a long reliever. So out of those three, Corey Lee, I believe, is definitely the candidate that is most likely to be called up this year. And Leon isn't going to be called up because he's not good enough. Leon still needs more at bats. Remember, Leon missed like 2.5 years of baseball. And he didn't play a lot last year. And so Pedro Leon still needs some time. His arm is there. His glove is there. So with that being said, I'll see if I can look. I don't know if there's any more questions here. Let's see. Wheelbite. Let's see. He says this probably the same reason. Okay. Yeah. Basically what he's saying is the reason why Lance McCullers may not start is because he may not be 100% healthy, and that's why we didn't see JV for 2 years. I will answer this last question, then I'm going to wrap it up. Wesley is here for Locked On Astros. Cool. Do you see the Astros putting Yordan at first base if Yuli decides to leave next year? I believe he would be great at first. Just my opinion. I don't know. What do you do with a guy with two new knees, with the knee replacement or knee surgery, whatever all went on with that? Does that lend itself to be a first baseman? I mean, is it worse being in left field? You've got some other guys that are coming up, and if Taylor Jones becomes what they expect him to become, then you know what? That kid can absolutely play first. That kid's bat is huge. That kid has a huge bat. He's a big, tall kid. He can play first base. He may be that guy that no one's talking about. He may be a dark horse for that. But I don't know. I would have to look into that. I know there's some other guys in the minors that they're looking at. They've looked at Joe Perez at first, and I forget there's like one or two others. But at the end of the day, if Yuli isn't here, I really hope he stays with the team as an ambassador. And with that being said, Trev Howard says, Kyle Tucker extension this year. I'll take that, and I'll wrap it up with this. My final point. Kyle Tucker, I believe, gets an extension this year. I don't think it happens during the regular season. It would be odd for the Astros to give 2 extensions in one season. I think they get it done before any arbitration or whatever goes on in the offseason for him this next year, because I'm not sure where he's at. But I think they get it done before spring training. I think they do it in the offseason, maybe winter meetings, maybe something like that. But Kyle Tucker, I think, gets extended because they know of his value. There's a reason why the Astros have kept him out of every trade or trade talk that has been about since he's been with the Astros organization. So, guys, Yuli Gurriel went 2 for 4 tonight. Yordan Alvarez got that bag, went 3 for 5. Maldi 2 for 4. Brantley 2 for 5. Diaz 3 for 5. Great defense by Syria. Great game overall by Jose Urquidy with 13 whiffs. I'm Htown Wheelhouse. This is Locked on Astros. We're your team every day. Go back and watch our instant reaction to the Yordan Alvarez signing today if you haven't. Go back and look at the Jeremy Pena breakdown. Go back and look at my interviews with some of these recent minor leaguers. We're trying to get some more on as well. Go check those out. Make sure you like every video that you watch of ours. And please, this week, tell 3 friends. This weekend, tell 3 friends about Locked on Astros. Tell them we're the only daily Astros podcast, and we're here to bring you the best content, and we hope that you enjoy it. We thank you so much for supporting us. We thank you so much for being our listeners, loyal viewers. And remember, we are always here for you. Reach out to us on Twitter, on Instagram, or Facebook. We'd love to say hi. And if you're at a game next week, I'll be there Monday and Tuesday for sure. Shoot me a tweet. Let's say hi. Come meet me 5th inning at Siren Arnold's. This has been another special bonus edition of Locked on Astros, bringing you the best and latest information. As always, go Stros.